I cut my insulin cord and could have been hospitalized a few times. So back in 5th grade, I was really sad and I hated my school and hated everything, and I'm a diabetic, so one day I cut my insulin cord a little bit and the insulin couldn't go through, so I got sick in the middle of the day and my mom picked me up. I realized that this worked, so I did it every time I didn't want to go to school and my BG was really high a lot and I was young and didn't think about it, but it was really dangerous and I was also wasting insulin, which is expensive. So I wasn't the smartest kid back then. Top-notch unethical life hack right here. Only downside is there's a chance of dying, but skipping school would probably sound more worth it to elementary-aged me. Hey. I also have type 1 diabetes. NGL, I've used it to my advantage a couple of times when I did and didn't need to. Also had a time where I should have said something but instead got a fancy ride on the wee-woo bus. I mean, be glad nothing worse happened, like terminal medical conditions. I constantly hid and threw away my seizure medicine as a kid. When I was around 10, I was diagnosed with epilepsy. The first medication they had me on was a liquid. It made me feel sick constantly and I would throw it up every day. My mom took me to the doctor and I was able to get a switch to these sprinkle pills. I hated those too. I didn't like how I felt, so I would throw them away, flush them down the toilet, etc. This went on for years and I kept getting worse. I finally switched to one that worked for me. However, when I think about all the money and medicine I wasted as a kid, I feel so bad. My family did not have a lot of money and my medicine was expensive. You were young and dumb and you didn't know the severity of what you were doing. You learned from it and you're remorseful, and that's what's important. We all make mistakes as kids, but as long as we grow, it'll be okay in the end. Also, glad to hear you're on a med that works for you. My caretakers were in the same boat with my ADHD. The Ritalin made me angry and the Adderall made me lose complete appetite. Figured out that the latter was a lot like meth when I started trying out different drugs in my teens. Explained a few things. As a kid you don't really know any better. I probably would have done the same thing. The side effects are not worth the medicinal effects. Threw my brother from the stairs. This all happened when I was around 10-11. My twin brother that day had a presentation in class. The presentation had to go about a book he needed to read. My brother, who doesn't like reading, did, obviously, not read that book. In the morning, around 7:30 I think, he came to me for help. He wanted me to tell him quick about the plot of that book, since I read it, so he at least would have had something for the presentation. However, I told him I had a better idea that would make sure he wouldn't have to do the presentation at all. He agreed and I told him to follow me upstairs to the attic. I did chose the attic because the floor on the second floor had a carpet on it, so his fall would be slightly less painful. Once upstairs I told him to turn around and to look down the stairs. He complied and without hesitation I pushed him and down he went. Luckily he didn't break anything, but my plan worked because my mom let him stay home that day. He's won. But at what cost? That teaches him a lesson. This is so funny. I used to fill my water cups with pop at fast food restaurants. I've only done this at huge fast food chain restaurants like McDonald's or Taco Bell. I should feel bad about it, but I really don't. I would never think about doing this at a mom and pop restaurant though, because they aren't franchised by a multi-billion-dollar company. I don't do it anymore though. For a moment I read with poop. I'm now working on putting my jaw back to place. Good. Eat the rich. I will never encourage theft, but with that said, do you really think McDonald's or Burger King is going to feel that in their wallets? All of us do this and don't regret, my guy. I took an umbrella from a random man at the grocery. Long story, but my son was in the rain. I was strapping my daughter into her car seat. A man stopped and handed me an umbrella. I put it in my car and strapped her in and then let my son in. The door is broken. Anyway, later I realized that maybe the man didn't even intend on me keeping it. And maybe he was mad because I did not get it open for my son, but it literally would have taken longer to open and unwrap it than to do a car seat strap. Maybe I'm crazy, but I keep randomly thinking about it. It's been like 2 or 3 months. I haven't even used it. I feel bad for so many things in this situation and my conscience won't let it go. I'm hoping this helps and maybe I can afford to fix my door soon so my son never stands in the rain. These are the things that keep me up at night. It's weird how little moments like this will eat at a person's mind. I'd suggest paying it forward. The next time it's raining, give that same umbrella to the first person you see without one. You'll quickly realize you are just doing a nice thing and it will make you feel good. Once you experience that, maybe you can put your mind at rest knowing that man was just doing the same for you and got the same feelings that go along with it. I once scammed my whole class odd 5 claiming it was for Cancer Research Foundation. When I, 16M, was 12, I thought it would be really funny if I pranked my whole class, 28 students plus 1 teacher, by hosting a fake fundraiser for CRF, and asking for $5 each from everyone. First, my teacher donated, then told my class about it. Everyone donated something, mostly $5. I ended up with about $140, 150 Australian dollars. I went to my local Target and bought as much games as I could. To this day, I never told anyone, but read it. Yesterday, I decided that I am going to sell my PlayStation 4, plus all of my games, and donate every cent to a bunch of charities. I know what I did was wrong, so I decided to try and fix my mistake. Good on you. People make mistakes and do things they regret, and you're putting it right now. I find this hilarious. Especially because you were 12. I used to steal school lunches from hungry children back in high school. I used to use people's school lunch codes and basically just steal their lunch. It started with someone I knew who didn't eat lunch and gave me his code. This was convenient until his code was closed altogether by his mother. I would then look over and watch people enter their numbers and memorize them so I can use it before they get the chance. Sometimes it was people I knew and I really just had absolutely no shame. I've been caught several times and never stopped. I've guessed a code once and that helped me through several months. I didn't have a need to do this really. Honestly, most times I didn't even eat. I'd grab an orange and throw the rest of it away. The food was trash though, and so was I. Seriously, why do this other than to be cruel? If you can't afford lunch, just sign up for the free or reduced lunch program, which pretty much every school in America has. I think you went through a phase. Some teens have a phase where they want to mean and hurt others. Don't internalize this action as a character flaw, it won't do you good. If you want to feel better, watch World's Strictest Parents on YouTube. Almost every teen will in the end become someone different, and it's so heartwarming to see them happier and more insightful at the end. I used deodorant at the grocery store and put it back. Basically, I was very strapped for cash and was on my way to a birthday party out of town. I realized I smelled horrible and needed deodorant. I went to the store and put some on, and put it back where I found it. I feel grossed out knowing someone bought that after I used it. Edit, it wasn't the spray, it was the stick. My neighbor may have seen you do this. She posted about seeing someone do this. Either that, or you're not the only one doing that. Probably no one did. I do and hope everyone else checks those out before buying, like when people open them to smell them, you know? When I was 18 I set my own house on fire. I'm an arsonist. I'm 20 years old, and when I was 18, I set my own place on fire and only served 3 months in prison. I'm not a criminal in general, and I'm pretty sure I'm not a bad person, and I don't know why I did it. I guess I just lost my shit. I drank a whole case of beer and went around that place room to room, setting fire to anything remotely flammable. The curtains, the carpet. When the smoke started filling the place I just calmly collected my hamsters in a cardboard box, went downstairs and told my neighbor that he should ring 999 because I just set my house on fire. He didn't believe me until I pointed up at the smoke pouring out of the windows. I blinked and I was in prison. Anyone want to hear more of my story? So you see yourself trying to light something on fire again. Or was it a one-time thing? I'm assuming you probably do get urges from time to time, am I correct? You are missing an opportunity to be a volunteer firefighter. You'd fit right in. I broke into my neighbor's apartment to take $1 for ice cream. I was about 5 years old and I didn't know what I was doing. I lived in an apartment and my mom's friend lived next door. One day I heard the ice cream truck music and I really wanted a SpongeBob popsicle, but my mom wouldn't give me $1. I was panicking because the ice cream truck was getting closer. Then I got the bright idea to open my neighbor's door and look for $1. The door was conveniently open, so I rushed in and went straight for the bedroom. When I got to the bedroom there was $1 on a table, but then I realized that the guy was in his bed sleeping, so I took the $1 and ran out of the apartment. Dom, thug life starting out so young? They called me a madman. I used to fake my projects by giving the teacher an empty flash drive. Back when I was 13, our geography teacher would ask us to do a project work and I would always bring an empty flash drive, knowing damn well she won't allow inserting the flash drive into her computer, so she would give me a really good mark and let me pass. I did this 3 times and was never caught. I don't feel bad about it because she doesn't even look at the work of others, she just checks if you have a project and gives you a random mark. In all fairness, she put just as much effort into grading your project as you did making it. I stole food from work for years and I don't regret it. When I was at university I worked at a smallish hotel as a kitchen hand. Most nights I worked the late shift and would close the kitchen after the chef had gone. There was always lots of leftover food, and I was supposed to throw it all out. I didn't though, because it was a badly paid job that overworked me, and I didn't have time to shop for food, let alone cook, in between work and study. Staff were allowed to buy leftover meals if they wanted to, but I was meant to dump the rest, which I thought was wasteful. There would be several serves every night of whatever hot meal was on the set menu, as well as sandwiches, fruit salad and desserts, and we weren't allowed to donate it to charities, because my boss and Quat didn't like the idea, and Quat, plus, it was in unsealed containers by then anyway, so charities wouldn't accept it. I'd pack up most of it in takeout containers, hide them in an empty garbage bag until I got to the staff locker area, then put it all in my bag to smuggle it out without being seen on camera. I'd also drop a tray to the night concierge on my way out and forget to charge him. I saved so much time and money and never regretted a damn thing. My asshole boss deserved it. Better than throwing it out, emo. Crazy how this system would rather throw food away than supply people who need it. If it was headed to the dumpster, I applaud you for not letting it go to waste. Not even theft, emo. I stole a school laptop. This happened when I was 10F, I'm 15 now. A few years ago I really wanted my own computer to play games and watch movies on, but we couldn't afford it and I didn't have any good reasons to buy one. So the next day at school we were all doing some assignment on the school Chromebooks, and when it was time to pack up I slipped mine under my books and papers and put them all in my backpack. No one noticed. I was shaking and sweating and felt horrible. Once I got home I powered it on and it said something about being protected by the school. I tried making a new account but it just wouldn't let me. I got really scared. That combined with the fact that I didn't even have a charger for it, so it was pretty useless. Anyway, I buried it in my backyard because I didn't know what else to do with it and thought I would get arrested if I tried to return it to the school. It's still there. I don't steal anymore and learn my lesson from the extreme guilt I felt for the following years. Edit. I'm in no way proud of this, by the way. People are asking me to dig it up and post what it looks like, but I have quite a large backyard. It's more of a pasture, so I'm not sure the exact place it's buried. I'll try though, heart. This is comedy.